Good morning, guys. Today we're going to be working on activity 3.2. I would like to try and get through part of 3.3, but we may just do 3.2 depending on how long this takes to go through and explaining the work. We're going to be working on determining the graphs of linear inequalities. So the graph of a linear inequality in two variables is a half plane, or half of a coordinate plane. A boundary line determined by the inequality divides the plane in two half planes, and the inequality symbol dictates which half plane contains all of the solutions. These solutions are represented by shading the appropriate half plane. Consider the linear inequality y is greater than 4x minus 6. The boundary line that divides the plane is determined by the equation y equals 4x minus 6. Should the boundary plane in this graph be a solid line or a dashed line? We have not talked a whole lot about this, but if you look at the left-hand side, it says if the inequality symbol is greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, the boundary line is a solid line because all points in the line are part of the solution. If the symbol is greater than or less than, the boundary line is dashed because no point on the line is a solution. So for this boundary that we're talking about here, we would just say this would be a dashed line because we are using I'm going to say we are using this symbol, and I'm going to put it y is, or I'm going to put y. We're just going to put the symbol like that. So because we're using that line, that symbol, we are a dashed line. So next, number 2 is just telling us to graph this inequality. So we know by looking at this part right here, we should know this by now. This part right there that I'm highlighting in pink is our y-intercept, where it crosses on the y-axis. So because it is -6, we have to start our first point right here at -6. That's where it crosses the y-axis. Okay. Now, the 4x is positive 4x. There's no negative sign in front of it. We can look by that. I'm going to do this one blue. There is no negative sign, so we know it's automatically positive, so it means the graph is going up. Now, to determine these, you have to move up 4 spaces up, so 1, 2, 3, 4, then over 1. So our first point should be x is 1, 2, or y is -2. We go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, over 1, which is 2, 2. Up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, over 1, 3, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, over 1. There's our vertical line there. Now we got to go down on the left side. Over 1, down 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's our spot. Now, as we said, we can't do a solid line, so we just do a dashed line through here. Do the best dashed line that you can. It doesn't have to be dead perfect. I'm not going to be that nitpicky on it right now because obviously not everyone has rulers or able to do a perfect line. And it's dashed, so just do that. And since we said it's got to be greater than y, we're going to shade because it's y is greater than the answer. Anything to the left of this line is good. So we're going to shade, so whatever color you want to do, it could be blue, red, whatever, just shade to the left of this line. So just like how I did, or I'm doing right now, just shade that just like that is perfectly fine with me. That's showing that anything to the left of this can equal y. Okay, it makes the answer true. Okay. Now, we're going to go on to the next page, and it's going to be a little bit more explaining and looking at some graphs matching them. Okay, so if we After read the top part, sorry guys. After you graph the inequality with the either a solid or dashed boundary line, you need to decide which half plane to shade. To make your decision, consider the point 0, 0. If 0, 0 is a solution, then the half plane that contains 0, 0 contains a solution and should be shaded. If 0, 0 is not a solution, then the half plane that does not contain 0, 0 contains the solution and should be shaded. So decide which half plane to shade. Is 0, 0 a solution? Explain your reasoning. So we're going to look back at this. Okay? So this is how we're going to figure this out. Okay? Sorry guys, I'm just looking to see where they got that part from. So they're showing me, so you guys are aware. Where did they get? I am not sure where they got their number from, but we can tell I think they did a typo. So if we're putting it 0, 0, so we're saying y is equal to 0, 4 parentheses x is 0 minus 6. 4 times 0 gives us 0. So 0, 0 minus 6. Simplify this. We'll take that 0 out. 0 equals negative 6. Or I'm sorry, not equal. I'm going to take out this equal sign. It was the greater than symbol. I'm sorry guys, my writing is awful this morning. And because we look at that, 0 is greater than it, so it is a solution. So this is a solution of the inequality. So for that, that is why we shaded that side. Okay, so you just test out the number 0, 0, see which way it goes. If it works, you shade that side. If it doesn't, you shade the other side. Okay, we already did B, we shaded. I did that, jumped ahead of a step, that's fine. Now, number 4 is matching. Okay, this is a key that I'm going to tell you guys right from the get-go. Okay, we need to be able to look and see and pull parts. So if you look at these problems right here, I'm going to tell you immediately, look at these symbols. So those two there are greater than or equal to signs, and these two here are just greater than or less than signs. Okay, so automatically we need to remember that a greater than or equal to sign is a solid line, and the less than or greater than ones are a dashed line. So automatically we can figure out which two to go to which two graphs. So we look at graph A, we see that's a dashed line. So that automatically means the ones that I highlight in the red are going to be the answer and the blues are eliminated. Okay, that's an easy step. Now you got 50-50 chance. Next, we have to look at how this is going to work. Okay, so if we're looking at this, we both see there are 1/2 x minus 3. Okay, we figure each square is 2, which that's what it looks like they are right now. Each square is 2. We're hitting right in the middle, so that's negative 3. Okay, that works. Now, what we have to do is we're going to problem solve here. We're going to fill in 0 and C. So we're going to put this here. So I'm going to look at this first one here right now. Okay, and then I'll calculate the other one over here. So we're going to set 0 is greater than 1/2 times 0 minus 3. Okay, so we know that 1/2 times 0 is just going to be 0. So I'm just going to leave that blank. I'm going to take nothing there. I'm going to just kind of cross that out. So it leaves us with 0 is greater than negative 3. Since that's a true statement, we shade above then. So we know by looking at that one that that's a true statement. 0 is larger than negative 3. So we know that's going to include. So automatically we can say going, oh, sweet. This one here is going to include. We're shading. So right away, this one, I'm going to just write underneath, is y is greater than 1/2 x minus 3. Now, because there are 4 problems and there's 4 graphs, we have to double check to make sure because this one, D, is blank right now. Okay? So let's look at the other dash line, number C, and let's see if this is going to work. So we're going to do the same thing, 0. 0 is less than 1/2 times 0 minus 3. Okay, 0, again, comes out to be less than negative 3. That is not a true statement. So because that is not true, we shade below that number. So as you can tell, 0, 0 is right there. That included it, so it means it's good. We shade above. This is right, 0, 0 is right there. It does not work, so we shade below it like this. Okay, so now we got those two crossed out. Now, let's look at letter B. Let's try the first top one. Y is greater than or equal to, I'm sorry, not Y. We're plugging zeros in to check them. 0 is greater than or equal to 1/2 times 0 minus 3. Again, this cancels out. 0 is greater than or equal to negative 3. If it's true, we shade. So if we're looking at 0, 0 here, does that work with graph B? Our answer should be no. So we know that's going to go down to graph D. So we can write that y is greater than or equal to 1/2 x minus 3. And then let's check this other one. Y is less than or equal to 1/2 x times, or 1/2 times 0 minus 3. So once again, this is 0. I don't know why I keep putting y. 0 is less than or equal to negative 3 because that cancels. That's not true. So we shade below. That's that problem right there. Now we have to graph this ourselves. So we know it starts at negative 3, so it's going to be halfway through there. Okay? We can look at these points here on this graph and make copies of it. Okay? Because it's going to be the same graph. We just got to decide which way it's going to shade. So we are going, essentially how this is going to work, we're going to start with this one right here at 1, negative 1, or 1, negative 1 that I just drew right here. Then you're going to go up 1 over 2 each time. Up 1 over 2. You're going to have one start here at negative 1, or I'm sorry, negative 1, yeah, negative 1, negative 3. You're going to go over 2, down 1. Yeah, over 2, down 1. Over 2, down 1. And that's your graph. So because this is using this symbol, it's going to be a solid line. So draw your line, hold it, and it gives you a straight line. As we said, coming from up here in this problem right here, it includes it. So because it's including this point right there, we have to shade above. So we just draw that line, and then we shade above it because we already did the math problem to it. Shade just like that, and you have your answer done. Let's do these 3, and then I'm going to call it a day. We're going to be graphing the 3 linear equalities, and then I will continue the rest of this tomorrow or on Monday with you guys. So graph each linear inequality. A is y is greater than x plus 3. So once again, we have to graph this as first y equals x plus 3. So we got to make our line. Okay? Because it's greater than, it is going to be, actually I shouldn't put a line under there. It's going to be a dashed line. Okay? So we see our starting point as 3. So we start at 3 there. I'm sorry. And what we are going to do is, since it's just an x, we're going to go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. You get the hint. So essentially the dots that I'm making can suffice for our graph, for our dashed lines, because it's kind of small. Okay. Now we set this as 0. Okay. So 0 is greater than 0 plus 3. Since there's another 0, 0 is greater than 3. Since that is not true, and 0, 0 is right here, we can't shade the 0, 0 because it doesn't work. So we shade the opposite side of it. So we just shade this side over here. Just like that. Okay? That's how we find that out. You plug 0, 0 in for the y and an x. Is 0 greater than whatever number on the other side or less than the number on the other side? If it includes it, saying it works, that it's true, then you shade where 0, 0 is. If it's false, you shade the opposite side of it. So let's look at B. We got to figure out the graph first, so we have to make this as y equals negative 1/3 x plus 4. We see our starting point is 4. Because it is negative 1/3, our graph is going down. Okay? So to do this, how we end up doing this is you go over to the right 3. 1, 2, 3, down 1. Over 3, 1, 2, 3, down 1. Over 3, down 1. Going the opposite way, you go up 1, over to the left 3. So 1, 2, 3, up 1, 1, 2, 3, up 1, 1, 2, 3, and there's your answer. Now, because we have that symbol, it is a solid line. Once again, just do the best line connection you can. We have to answer this as plugging in 0. So 0 is greater than, less than or equal to negative 1/3 times 0, which ends up giving you 0 plus 4. So this cancels out. Is 0 less than or equal to 4? We would be, yes, that works because 0 is less than 4. And because that's true, we have our 0, 0 point right there. We have to include it in the shading. So we shade everything down here. Just like that. Okay? Just do the best shading. It doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to shade every single little spot, but just know that anything underneath the shading works. Meaning, if I put 1, 1 in for x and y, I would have a true answer that it would work. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up C. I will help you answer and put the graph. I want you guys on your own to tell me which side it's going to be shaded. And that's when we're going to end. So we're going to do this one together. So we have to kind of do a little work beforehand. Okay? So because this is set up a little differently, we have to move things over. So when I do this, I have to get x's on the one side because we want it to look as y equals a number. So I have to minus 2x on each side. Leaves us with negative y is greater than, or less than, negative, make it a little easy, negative 2x plus 4. I can't have y be negative, so I got to divide it by negative 1. Divide each of these by negative 1. Leaves us with negative 2 divided by negative 1, and negative divided by a negative gives us a positive. We flip this sign. Y is greater than 2x minus 4. Okay? Net positive divided by negative gives you a negative. Negative divided by negative gives you positive. And then once again, when we divide by a negative number, the signs always flip. So we have to graph this y equals 2x minus 4. We know we start at minus 4 here. The 2x is positive, so we're going to go up 2 over 1. Up 2 over 1. Up 2 over 1. Up 2 over 1. And keep on going until you get all the way to the top. When you do the bottom, you go over 1, down 2, over 1 to the left, down 2, over 1, down 2. The dot's perfectly fine, symbolizing that you are doing a dash. Now, what I want you guys to do on your own is I want you to set this up and tell me which side of the line you would graph, or you would shade. So we'd set this up with the zeros. So y is greater than 2x, which is 2 times 0, minus 4. So on your own, you're going to tell me, you're going to shade which side this line is, and when you submit it, I will check to see if you are correct. Then I will give you any feedback once you submit it if I need to correct you on anything. Finish that off. That is the rest for today. Monday, we'll pick back up, continue and finish off this packet, and then we will get going into the formative and start a new lesson next week. If you have any questions at all, please reach out to me via email, comment on Canvas, and as a reminder, we are having our Zoom meeting on Wednesday at 9:30. That's going to be every Wednesday 9:30. It's just a check-in, see how you're doing. If you have questions or concerns, as you know, we are closed for right now until April 30th per our governor. So we'll be having these weekly meetings that way, just checking in. If you guys have any questions, once again, please email me, and have a great rest of your day and have a great weekend.